Blizzard got caught deleting evidence. What evidence, though? Did they finally catch the Blizzard breast milk thief? I hope they did, because that would be absolutely hilarious. Anyway, it's high time that Blizzard gets slopped out of existence, and I am all for it.
Well, everyone, this is going to be fun. One of the most annoying trends has finally came for us. I'm going to be talking about 4 fake games in this video, but they're 4 fake games from big IPs that you know, right? It's Crash Bandicoot, Guitar Hero, and Call of Duty. Because literally, Activision and Microsoft have just promoted that. They have promoted fake games. I'm not lying to you. That is literally a true statement. But it is a statement that kind of raises more questions than it answers. And to set the tone for all of this, I want you to remember what Phil Spencer said just after the acquisition. We want to be good custodians. Of course, he's talking about the IP. He said that they didn't want to just start projects, quote, just for financial gain, and most importantly for today, that they wouldn't, quote, create a PR announcement and not deliver.
This is hilarious, because this was probably actually not intended a lie at that time, but it is currently very well known. It has been talked about. People have been writing articles about it and whatnot, that Microsoft is not happy with the acquisition of Blizzard. Microsoft is even less happy with the acquisition of Bethesda, which in grand total cost them $100 billion, okay? 100 bill, with a B, not a million, billion. That is a lot of money even for someone like Microsoft, honestly. And, well, Activision Blizzard costed like almost 90 billion, right? 80-something billion. And, well, what is happening with Blizzard currently? Oh, well, Overwatch 2 is dead. Marvel Rivals completely stomping them out of existence. Diablo 4 is literally now called D4 bad more than actually Diablo 4. It's completely getting blown out by the water with... Even Minesweeper has more players than it at this point. And World of Warcraft is at the highest point of apathy anyone has ever seen. No one literally gives a shit what happens in that game at this point. It's either you play it and you don't care, or you don't play it and you still kind of don't really care, honestly, all that much. And this statement is very visible on Bethesda's part, because Bethesda is now forced to... they were forced to make the Fallout TV show that Todd Howard did not want to do. They are forced to make remakes. Microsoft is forcing Bethesda to do so many things now after the disaster of Starfield. It's not even funny. It's like Activision Blizzard is getting absolutely screwed. Microsoft is not happy. It is what it is.
Well then, let's get into today's story. It's going to be fun. And I've also got something beyond OP for you, which is Factor 75.
Shit. It's bad. Don't use it. Go to your local gas station, unless you're American, because Americans keep commenting and telling me, our gas station food is inedible. Sad. My gas station food is actually top quality. It's a little bit more expensive though, but it is top quality actually. You can get like you can get shrimp meals there in gas stations where I live, and I, by the way, live where Americans consider a hellhole, Eastern Europe. When a hellhole has better quality food than your average restaurant in a gas station. Man, what a horrible life. What a horrible life.
Here are the 4 games that kick this whole thing off. The first one is a Fall Guys style Crash Bandicoot like party game, which to be honest, I'd be totally down for. I loved playing Crash Bash when I was a kid. There's also an isometric zombie killing Call of Duty. There's a sniper assassin.
Oh, wow, this looks bad. Is this AI made? This looks like those ads that are completely fake that just want you to click on it. This is what it looks like. Wow, Activision has fallen so hard.
Call of Duty, there's a sniper assassin Call of Duty, and the return of Guitar Hero featuring head-to-head battles, which, you know, was kind of hard to believe at face value. I mean, if all that was happening, it would literally be Activision using their IP, trying new things, I guess, actually surprising us, doing cool things that maybe some of us would want. And more importantly, that would be the fulfillment of the best case reading of Phil Spencer's words, of developers having the freedom and the resources to do more than just Call of Duty. But don't worry, that good thing is not happening. You're not going to have to update your whole model of how the world works, because this was firmly not that. Instead, it's AI slop. Official AI slop. What we just looked at for these 4
Yeah, I mean, I ain't gonna lie, this definitely looked, the top-down zombie thing looked like AI slop.
games were basically adverts that were slowly rolled out over time on social media platforms, kind of in stealth mode, where there was just ads posted but no big reveal, right? No press release or anything like that. But obviously, as soon as players picked up in the prospect of a new Crash Bandicoot game, right? Or maybe the first Guitar Hero since 2015. Surprises me it's 2015. I thought that died a few years
Damn.
earlier. But anyway, of course, the press machine began to spin up, right? If you played Crash Bash when you were a kid, the idea of Fall Guys meets Crash is really exciting. So this stuff really went beyond its target audience of just little mobile game ads and shit. And
Is Crash Bandicoot really that popular, by the way? I didn't play it. I think I had the chance to play it as a kid, and I chose not to.
well, tighter scrutiny came. And that involved us taking a look at them and seeing that, well, they all reek of AI. The characters in the Crash images are just kind of variations of
Oh, you can actually see it in the eyes. Yeah, the eyes are horrible. This. Are there any double noses anywhere, or any double anythings? I'm not seeing it, but this is AI Yeah, this is definitely an AI hand. It's like it's a clenched fist, but the AI doesn't really know what to do with it. So, wow. This this could be who jumps like doing this with their hand. I don't know, but maybe. What the hell is happening here? Is this a paraplegic? Looks like a paraplegic.
Crash or weird unfinished character designs. It's very odd. The instruments, the audience, and even the speakers in Guitar Hero Mobile are melting. They appear to be melting.
Oh yeah, this is AI. I don't know what's wrong with AI, but anyone who has been on the internet knows that AI is horrible at making nipples for some reason. Yeah, AI typically, you know what AI does? It takes nipple and puts a nipple on top. I don't know why AI does that, but that's the typical AI nipple. So it does AI struggles with literally everything that is a circle and has another circle inside of it. For some reason, it seems to me. But I'm not an AI expert, though. But, I mean, that seems to be what it struggles with.
And the beats don't actually match this, like, the style of the series. It's weird. The less that is said about the lack of feet, the weird room layouts, and the absurd designs of the Call of Duty games.
Oh, yeah, this doesn't have feet.
The better. So altogether, this is some pretty goofy shit. It looked like a kind of stealth release of weird AI slop games promoted with slop ads. Very bizarre. And of course, this is all happening right as we're talking about the complete abominations that they are stuffing actual real Call of Duty that people like buy with real money. The stuff they're stuffing that with. So the idea that Activision
Okay, you know what? One thing about AI,
people
though,
like buy with real money.
This, because of the art style, I can't tell that this is AI, because I would never pay enough attention to an art style this poor, in my own opinion. I don't like this type of art. So I would never be able to tell that this is AI, because I would never look at it long enough to even register it in my mind.
The stuff they're stuffing that with. So the idea that Activision would churn out mass-made AI slop ads to pour onto social media for like a bunch of mobile games or something, that's totally in character. But this is actually not that. Because if you click on one of these adverts, you will find that these games are in fact fake. They're not real. You're met with a, quote, "Thanks for your interest. This isn't a real game, but it could be someday. We'd love if you could answer this short survey, which could help inform the potential future."
The moment he said this, I knew that there's going to be a survey
of this game. Your feedback really matters to us. Okay, so let's break down.
This is the logical next step in surveys. People don't want to finish surveys. The people who do want to finish surveys on average your super fans who literally don't actually care if a game costs 500 as long as it's by their favorite company. So their surveys are literally useless. So how do you get people to do surveys? Well, you pick them. That's how you do it.
What's happening here, because this whole thing is a little bit new to like premium game franchises, right? Big IPs. But it is in fact one of the many scourges of mobile gaming finally coming for us. Okay, what we're about to do is a massive life skill. We're going to do a frame shift. So pretend now that you are Activision. Your goal is really simple. You want data. It's all about finding out what type of...
What the hell is the... Does Billy like look at some kind of weak psychology video on YouTube like once a month, and then he hears the word frame shift? Or perspective shift, it actually should be in the... What did he say? Frame shift or perspective shift?
For Activision. Your goal is really life skill. We're going to do a frame shift. So
yeah, frame shift. No, this is a perspective shift. Actually, not a frame shift. Someone probably took perspective shift and remade it into whatever the fuck frame shift is. Probably the same thing, but just a different name. And there you go. And Biller's now doing it. He really loves doing this for some reason. He sees a video and then he just mutters it for like a month straight. Like, rice anchoring, frame shifts. What are the other hot billiard topics? I don't know.
About finding out what type of person would click on a Guitar Hero or a Crash game advert in the year 2025. But even deeper than that, it's not just about Crash or COD, it's about the framing of a game. You know, what actually gets a higher conversion rate. So if that advert gets, say, 300,000 impressions, how many will click? Because, well, if you're showcasing one sort of game feature in an advert and it gets more clicks than another game feature, that's the game feature you'll focus on. What's the name of the game? What color is the text? What's the color palette of the game? What this essentially is the...
I wonder if this is the same on YouTube. Because the reality of YouTube is there was a time where watch time and all of that stuff mattered, right? But now, honestly, nothing but the click-through ratio matters on YouTube. Like, if you have a good viewer retention rate, cool, I guess. But the reality is, I have seen this a lot. I have seen my videos, some videos get like 3, 4, 5 times more views, and all they have is just better click-through ratio. They actually have less average view duration and time and whatnot, less interaction, but they just have more clicks. So YouTube prioritizes this. And we are at the point in life where just getting the click matters, sadly. So, things like clickbait matter a lot. Because that's the only metric that currently really matters. This has been the situation for a year at least on YouTube. I wondered how it works with gaming. Does it work the same if you just get someone to click? That's the biggest part of getting them to become an actual player, even if you baited them.
The fail fast mantra, but you know, without actually building the damn thing first. The whole point of fail fast and I suppose startups and everything is even if you fail, do kind of learn quite a lot by actually building something and grappling with a problem. If you strip away all the actual work and you just are doing this with weird AI slop, you're not really going to get most of the value of fail fast. But basically, this is something that's normal in mobile. What happens in mobile is they create some advertising, right?
Fail fast is also a psychological concept for game design, aka if a failure is a part of the game, you don't want your players to struggle for like 2 hours straight in failing. You want them to have fun, be powerful, but when they fail really fast. So, I'm pretty sure that's what he means when he says fail fast, because that's a gaming concept in psychology. Again, Bellier just uses these sentences, these words with meaning so randomly.
That is based off a set of concepts for games without actually making those games. So a company will draft up a whole range of game concepts, right? They will pump out adverts and then they'll greenlight whatever gets the best conversion rate. And in a way, it does make sense, right? I mean, you do kind of want to fail fast. You would rather know a concept is inherently unappealing before you put loads of time and knowledge into it. But, well, a lot of the benefits of this approach come from rapid prototyping and actual work done by actual game designers. But that is not the case here. These are not game designers having a prototype for a game and doing some testing. This is, in fact, its own industry. So it's time for you to learn about the new Slop Factory. And look, quick thing, I don't want to appear too gleeful here, it's just that this is all such weird, goofy bollocks that it is honestly kind of fun to talk about, I guess.
A couple of years ago, I thought that one of the great filters for humanity is going to be psychology. Because the psychology is this incredibly dangerous monster that no one can stop. People who even understand psychology, especially if it is psychology that impacts you on your not active part of the brain, but passively, subconscious effect that has a subconscious effect on you. The big thing about psychology is exactly that. The fact that someone can explain to you thoroughly, make it so you understand 100% what the psychological effect of something that is being done is, and you know it. It happens. You know it's happening, but you're still affected by it. Because knowing that someone is psychologically abusing you, so to speak, doesn't make you immune to the effect. The effect still happens. And I thought a couple of years ago that this is going to be like one of the great filters of humanity. Because there's no way to counteract these things, right? If it's happening, it's happening. But then something strange happened, because a lot of companies started to use psychology and this stuff, and then people just started to become immune to psychology tricks. And there's no fucking way the average person is smart enough to know these things. Sunk cost fallacies, and all of these things. The fear of missing out. But people just started to become immune to this shit, which actually surprised me. Again, currently, for example, the fact that you have spent like 10,000 hours playing a game, it's no longer something that prevents people from abandoning a game just now if there's something else coming out. People just don't care. This 5 years ago, 10 years ago, this was something that companies used to an extraordinary level to keep people engaged in their games. But this no longer works. The average person currently does not give a flying fuck about how many skins they have in a game, how many hours they have spent in a game. And every day there's just more psychological effects that get bypassed by humanity on a mass scale at this point that previously governed our everything that we did in gaming and as consumers for video games. And this is kind of wild. I think there's some kind of magical inbuilt shit in humanity that allows us to just bypass negatively impact societal impact, mental gymnastics and things of that nature. Because again, people don't know about the average person has no idea what the sunk cost fallacy is, fear of missing out, FOMO, blah blah blah, so many things, and yet, the majority of people just now don't give a shit about these things anymore. Suddenly, from nowhere. That's it. It's insanity.
Yes, it's, either that or just genuinely feel depressed about it. But here's the deal with this. Activision are working with a company called Geek Lab. Just a lab full of geeks. Now, they proudly offer their services in concept validation. So basically, Geek Labs have got paid fake ads with surveys, and their whole thing that they offer to their clients is basically, we'll pump out a bunch of this shit, and we will come back to you, and we will tell you roughly what you should be making and what people are interested in. And the thing is, this makes logical, rational sense.
Yes. But at some point, people are gonna just catch on and start fucking with you when this happens, and and your outcomes are not going to be worth shit any longer. That's what's going to happen, because that has already happened with multiple things.
In a way, this is why I asked
Humans are truly insane creatures.
you to perform the frame shift. If you are a cost optimizing manager, right, you're going to think, well, there's no point in making a game that is inherently something the market's not really that interested in. So how about we first do something like this, get a whole bunch of testing, and then we can be guided by...
Also, by the way, this has a self-sabotage factor in it that this company probably knows about but doesn't give a shit because they're making money. And that is the fact that this company probably has gotten pretty good over a couple of years, a couple of attempts, a couple of tries at finding a direction that people lean into. And all of these directions for all of these companies, even though the genres are different for the games, even the targeted demographic is different, they're all going to be of the same nature, most likely. Which means we're going to get an oversaturation of whatever the hell this is supposed to be. And the Barbie game is going to be strangely eerie similar to the Call of Duty game. That's what's going to happen here.
Data. But of course, the thing about always being guided by data is that data is what we call a lagging indicator, not a leading indicator. You're not going to do something creative and new that could perhaps get you exponentially better results if all you're doing is trying to build a computable spreadsheet that you then go and perfectly make your decisions off. Because, hey, if it all
Yeah, that's pretty much what I said just now. Almost the same thing.
goes to shit, you did a good spreadsheet. You can't be fired. You followed it by the book. And in this case, it's something that's doomed to fail, and especially this case. So all of this is built on the principle that nothing gets made unless Geek Labs is getting good data. And that's kind of the problem here. We are not talking about Age of War, Fire Legends Unchained, which I'm sure has some amazing live action thing with Anthony Starr or some other big famous person who just loves playing mobile games. No, no, no. These are established brands that audiences love and want to love. I mean, I don't give a shit about Crash right now, but I have nostalgic memories as a kid. So if you bring me a new Crash, I'm going to be kind of excited, right? I mean, a Crash that's like that kind of Crash that I liked, Crash Bash, which is why this one was relevant to me. Just that whenever I see them put the thing that gives me all the nostalgia through a horrific AI slop blender machine, well, doesn't really hit true. And with this, all Activision has achieved is to cheapen those brands, because if you've got a mascot character, you should never show it off in a way that is below par. And they've also kind of said the quiet part out loud. We do not believe in our creative vision for these brands. We do not know what to do with them. We know you love them, but we basically don't have a clue. And we don't even trust ourselves. That's why we need to make weird fake things to try and somehow find out. Now, whether that's true or not, that is what this projects to an audience. It's galling with Guitar Hero and Crash Bandicoot, where new games don't really seem to be that likely. In return for their sliver of data, you've now seen these officially sanctioned slop things via our video. And because you have seen those, well, you now kind of value those brands a little bit less, because you see what the people who own those brands are willing to put out into the public eye. With this, Geek Labs are clearly cutting every corner, because if these were games that were actually in production, you know what? I would not mind some sort of advert-based thing to try and gauge what people were interested in. If it was real, if some actual work was being done, and you got a sense that there was a team of developers who could look at this data and maybe learn something from it. But this is not that. And it seems pointless, because why do they need to do fake art? They have banks of concept artists who, well, I'm sure would be happy to go and...
It's not about fake art, okay? Let me explain something to you about this, okay? This is something you learn very fast on YouTube, especially currently when you can have 3 thumbnails up at a time and see what are the big turnarounds. Not the big turnarounds, but the big click-throughs. Let me explain something. To get something to appeal to a person's eye, it takes very little. I have literally had situations on the Magic the Gathering channel where having a video perform the best in a week or the worst in a week was the difference between I don't remember what the most extreme example was just changing one word in the title. And it wasn't even a big word, it was like de or ar or something like that I replaced with something else. And suddenly, from the least viewed video in like a fucking week, it skyrocketed after just changing the letter, not the letter, but the word te to something else. It became first. And you can see this in art because it follows the same thing. Like, look at this. See? This is just the same as this. But this is zoomed in and smaller. They want to see what attracts the attention more. Seeing more of the different colors and different things happening, or a bigger emphasis on exactly the primary target. This is the same as this is the same as this, and all of this has the same idea. You see, this is kind of more zoomed in, this is less zoom, and you can see, and they are getting the data here. What do people prefer more? More zoomed in, more spread out that you can see the action. And after that, they're gonna have a lot of other things. For example, here, you see this? This is bigger contrast than this. All of these things matter. Is it more zoomed out? Is the contrast bigger? Is there an emphasis on one character? Is there an emphasis on two characters? For example, for my clickbait sexy thumbnails that I use for Starfield, Skyrim, Bethesda, and pretty much any of those things, I have figured out that people like two things most of the time. Visible breasts, visible large voluptuous breasts with women's faces, or a group with women where the whole body is visible. Those are the two most popular things. Everything else gets way less clicks than that. And those are just small things. You think they're the same, but they're actually not so magically how.
Developers who could look at this data and maybe learn something from it, but this is not that. And it seems pointless because why do they need to do fake art? They have banks of concept artists who, well, I'm sure would be happy to go and do some tasks. Crash Bandicoot and Guitar Hero are beloved. Call of Duty is one of the biggest media properties on the planet. Using them to lure people's clicks under false pretenses does not necessarily mean that Activision and Geek Labs have cleverly manipulated the audience into handing over their data, though what we know it does is it just cheapens what those games even mean and burns audience trust entirely. And that is the thing that is just above everything else, right, in this industry. And I suppose the sad, pathetic end to this is that Geek Labs actually do seem to have scrubbed the fake posts that they made, even if the original posts are still up in social media. The official stuff has now been scrubbed away. So if you try to click through to do your survey, now all you get is an error message. It's probably because this campaign got too much attention and they've realized that any data harvested after a certain point is basically
Oh, yeah, I was gonna. He's already saying that, but no, it's actually they just got enough data, and when people catch on and they start talking about it, the survey is no longer useful because people with malicious intent are gonna start piling in and whatnot.
Completely ruined. It's now obvious, I think, that this has done more harm than good. And even though Phil Spencer likely is nowhere near the causal chain of decisions and responsibility that led to this, he is the boss. And this goes against his word. And so we get to the big picture, and honestly, listen up, this shit is coming, and it's coming in more than just games. The idea, right, that a games company would be ambiguous with the truth is nothing new. We all...
Yeah, we know. A lot of AI slop is coming, Belair. We know. Anyway, that was Belair Gaming 10 out of 10. Bye!